Happy New Year. I hope 2022 has gotten off to a great start for you and your family, and I hope it'll be filled with an overwhelming abundance of God's love, joy, blessings, and wonderful new adventures. When I did the update video in October, Ignacio at that point had gone from Asia A to Asia B. He's now officially gone from Asia A to Asia C. So now we have gotten over a dozen Asia A's that have gone to Asia C or D, and we are absolutely thrilled. We're not aware of that ever happening before in the United States in a spinal cord injury clinical trial. So we're absolutely thrilled and excited. I'm going to be getting started in February. I've had a lot of health challenges over the holidays, but it's sort of like, I guess, pulling in for a pit stop. I'm certainly not Formula One, maybe more of a monster car, the one underneath, health-wise, but I had an infection in my eyes that made me light sensitive and some autoimmune issues, but the broken foot is healed, and I'm continuing to work on my musculoskeletal system and trying to address a lot of the autoimmune challenges I'm having. And hopefully we'll be good to go here shortly. Also over the holidays, we had an incredible blessing. Josiah Fulton, who is a complete Asia A C6, so again, Asia A is no function or sensation below the break, checked out of the the Memphis VA hospital and moved in here while his home got ready in Nashville. He is a veteran, of course, speaks fluent Mandarin Chinese, was in military intelligence. They had him stationed in Germany monitoring the Russians because I guess in our wisdom we felt the Chinese weren't a threat, but again, I won't get into politics. But he had the best attitude I've ever seen, and I believe he's already in Asia C. And the VA in Memphis, all they had was an old beaten up mat, a semi-functional standing frame, and a broken FES bike. But they told him he was moving around on the mat better than most paras they'd ever worked with. And so Josiah is very excited about us getting him a device, raising it in the Nashville community, and launching a pilot with the VA in Nashville. So we're very excited about that and looking forward to it. And I'm excited to be starting the clinical trials in February. Josiah, the pool is almost finished. So Josiah was here doing the Lokomat, the All-Core 360, the mat, the pool, the full gamut. And he's gonna be coming in and we get a stimulator, which we had a gift 2 weeks before Christmas that was some stock, which we were able to sell. So we've now paid for the clinical trial for the next year to 18 months, purchased a stimulator, and we'll be bringing people here to live in my home at no cost, of course, to work with our caregivers to go from hopefully Asia A to Asia C, as everyone else has done except me because of COVID, and then help them raise money in their local communities. And I'll share some collateral materials. Josiah did a wonderful video on the Lokomat, which I'll share, which you can see if you want to. It's just a couple minutes long. And then there was an incredible LA Times article on Ignacio, and I'll share that with you as well. Ignacio has walked over 100,000 steps on the Exo, and he is just crushing it. So we're very, very excited. He's so happily married. He and his wife, who's part of this clinical trial program. She's been hired by UCLA. She's a PhD in industrial engineering. So we're extremely excited about all of that. As I think about this new year, I had something happen over the holidays that really was a game changer for me. I had been praying at Bruce Wilkinson's encouragement for about a month that I would see, experience, know, and understand God's love for me. And I got a call on a Wednesday from a woman in Germany I hadn't spoken to in 18 months. And she wanted me to help a woman who was stranded in Pakistan, who was fleeing Afghanistan. And I had a prayer call with the Aurora Forge Friday morning at 8, and I was praying with RJ, who spent 90 days of the last 2.5 months of last year on the ground in Afghanistan and Pakistan, and we were able to get hundreds and hundreds of people, if not thousands of people, out with a partnership with UAE Airlines, etc. And I said to RJ, I know that's a prayer that God delights in answering, but I don't know what the answer is. And I just want to pray that I'll know his answer to that prayer of seeing, knowing, understanding, and experiencing his love for me. So we had a call with 10:30 with a group of missionaries in Chattanooga, a couple who've been missionaries in Chile for 30 years, who are sponsoring financially this young woman. It turned out she was in a wheelchair. She was on the Afghan national basketball team, and all the other athletes have been beheaded by the Taliban because they don't believe that women should be participating in sports. And she also was the chief prosecutor in Kabul for the former Afghan government prosecuting terrorists. So she's now in hiding in Islamabad, which is crawling with the Taliban. And I said to the couple, well, we're getting, we can't get people into the United States, even US citizens and green card holders. The quickest our State Department can move, and even in an emergency, is 18 months. We're having US citizens turned away in flight, and certainly green card holders. And our government has now taken the position that there are no Afghan refugees, and we've gotten the UN to follow suit. So we're going to have to send her to Eastern Europe, North Africa, Middle East for a period of time to have safe harbor before we can transition to the US. Is there a country that you'd like us to try to send her to? And they said, yes, well, the only country we have relationships is Albania. We have a friend who's been a missionary in Albania for 25 years. If we can get them there, room and board and food and caregiving, everything will be paid for. So I said, okay, I know one guy in Albania, let me call him. And it was a guy named Gensi who had met with me 3 or 4 times in my home. So I called him on his cell phone and I said, Gensi, I think you were involved in People to People International. And he said, yes, I actually took over as chairman from Mary Eisenhower just recently. And I said, and I think you were in the Foreign Service for Albania, is that right? He said, yes, I'm the former Albanian ambassador to Afghanistan, Pakistan, Iran, Kyrgyzstan, and Georgia. And I said, oh, that's incredible. What are you doing now? He said, I work for the president of Albania. So I shared the situation with Gensi, and he said, Ross, if you tell me, it was so moving to me because I was at Gunston Hall up in Northern Virginia, sitting in my chair next to a statue of George Mason, who I'm named after. My name is George Ross Mason, and I'd just been reading about him making his next door neighbor very angry, George Washington, for not signing the Constitution because it didn't have a Bill of Rights and because of the 3/5 clause he was opposed to slavery. And it was very moving to read all that. And then I'm having this conversation with Gensi. And he said, Ross, if you tell me this woman is not a terrorist and legitimate, I will sponsor her myself. I will call your ambassador in Albania. I'll call your ambassador in Pakistan. We'll do everything we can to get her out and help you transition her to Chattanooga. And after I got off the phone, it was very emotional. And I felt like the Holy Spirit was saying, you asked me this morning to answer the prayer or let you know how I'm answering the prayer of you experiencing my love for you. I just did it, and this is how I'm going to do it. I'm going to use you to be a blessing in the lives of others in ways that you could never have orchestrated, comprehend, or understand. And that's how I'm going to express my love for you, because that's the most important thing in your life, and you want to love and serve and be a blessing in the lives of others. And so I'm going to use you to do that in ways that only I can. And so that was an incredibly moving answer to prayer. And that's unlocked a cascading events, a cascade of blessings that's been a tremendous blessing. I'm also going to include a letter that I wrote over the weekend. We are trying to secure the X Prize for Georgia. I reached out to them, which I've mentioned before, I'm sure, to make Georgia the home for all future healthcare X Prizes. And I'll share with you a 5-page document that I've given to some extremely high net worth donors. But these are people that have a connection to Atlanta. Even if they live in Silicon Valley or the Middle East or some other part of Europe, they have an Atlanta connection, which is why I emphasized in this summary the benefit to our city, our community, our state. And I'd love if you guys have any ideas about our efforts. We do hope to do the first X Prize around spinal cord injury and have groups competing all over the world who raise hundreds of millions of dollars for a cure, is what they say, but they're really focused on acute injuries and incomplete injuries because they don't get paid for chronic or complete injuries. So we want to change the standard of care, as Ignacio has already done, through a federal judge for brachial plex injuries, where the standard was amputation, and he's now demonstrated over a third of function and sensation recovery with a limb with brachial plex. He's also demonstrated the benefits of locomotive training, walking over 650 miles on my Lokomat downstairs. But I'm so grateful that we can make this a place of healing, and we can bring people, veterans from all over the country, and eventually spinal cord people from all over the world, into this home and get them on the road to full recovery, and then work with them to establish pilots in their community. So thank you so much for making that happen. God bless you. Happy New Year. And please don't hesitate to reach out to me if you'd like to discuss anything I've said in greater detail. God bless.